What if you fell asleep one night and woke up somewhere else entirely? Not a nightmare, not a dream. Somewhere real, somewhere ancient, somewhere that existed in the space between one heartbeat and the next. A world of total darkness, thousands of lanterns, all gone cold, and a girl who had been waiting for 3 years, waiting for the one person who could bring the light back. Thomas Reed fell asleep on the night of his 12th birthday. He woke up somewhere he had never been, but somehow felt like he had always belonged. Welcome to the unseen hour. There is a place between sleeping and waking where the world is not quite real. Most people pass through it in seconds, eyes heavy, thoughts dissolving, gone before they even notice it existed. But occasionally, very occasionally, someone stops there. Thomas Reed stopped there on the night of his 12th birthday. He'd gone to bed later than usual, cake crumbs still on his shirt, the sound of his parents laughing downstairs, the kind of ordinary perfect evening that you never appreciate until it is gone. He closed his eyes, and instead of falling asleep, he fell somewhere else entirely. It began with a light, small and golden, flickering, like a candle seen through a frosted window. It floated perhaps 10 feet ahead of him in a darkness so complete he could not see his own hands. He was standing on something solid, stone maybe, cool and smooth beneath his bare feet. The air smelled of pine trees and rain and something else he couldn't name, something ancient, like the inside of a very old library. "Hello," he said. His voice didn't echo. It was swallowed immediately by the dark, as though the darkness itself was listening. The light drifted closer. As it approached, Thomas could see it was a lantern, small and brass and very old, hanging from nothing at all, just floating there, 3 feet off the ground, glowing with a warm, impossible light. Beneath the lantern was a girl. She looked about his age, dark hair cut short, eyes the color of deep water. She was wearing clothes that looked like nothing he had ever seen, layered and practical and belonging to no particular time or place. She looked at him the way people look at someone they have been sent to find. "You are late," she said. Thomas blinked. "I just got here," he said. She almost smiled. "You were supposed to be here 3 years ago," she said. "On your 9th birthday. We have been waiting." Thomas looked around at the vast and total darkness surrounding them. "Where is here exactly?" he asked. The girl picked up the lantern from the air as though it were the most natural thing in the world and held it up between them. "This is the in-between," she said. "The place that exists in the space your world leaves behind. Every shadow, every forgotten corner, every moment between one heartbeat and the next." She looked at him seriously. "And it is dying." Thomas stared at her. "What do you mean dying?" he said. The girl began walking. The lantern floated ahead of her, casting its small circle of gold light against the dark. Thomas followed because there was nothing else to do. "The in-between has always existed," she said as she walked. "It is held together by light, not sunlight or moonlight or any light your world makes, a different kind." She held up the lantern. "This kind." Thomas looked at it more carefully. The flame inside was not like any flame he had seen. It moved too slowly, and the light it cast had colors in it, deep blues and soft greens shifting beneath the gold, like something alive. There were once thousands of these lanterns, the girl continued, lit and tended by the keepers, people from your world who could find their way here, who had the ability to see the in-between and keep its lights burning. She stopped walking. Around them, Thomas could now make out shapes in the darkness, like the ruins of something enormous, tall structures that might once have been towers, archways that led nowhere, and everywhere, on every surface, the cold, dark remnants of lanterns gone out. Hundreds of them, maybe thousands, all dark, all cold. What happened to the keepers? Thomas asked quietly. The girl was silent for a moment. They stopped coming, she said, one by one, over many generations. Your world got louder and faster and fuller, and people stopped finding their way to the in-between, stopped stopping in the space between sleeping and waking. She looked at him, stopped noticing the dark. Thomas thought about his own life, school and screens and noise from morning until night. He tried to remember the last time he had sat in silence long enough to notice anything at all. He couldn't. What happens if all the lanterns go out? He asked. The girl looked at the one remaining flame burning in her hand. The in-between collapses, she said simply. Every shadow in your world disappears, every quiet moment, every space between things. Your world becomes solid, unbroken. No room for imagination, no room for wonder, no room for the kinds of thoughts that only come in the dark and the quiet. She met his eyes. No room for stories. Thomas felt something shift in his chest, something that had no name but felt very much like purpose. "What do I have to do?" he said. The girl held the lantern out towards him. "Take it," she said. Thomas reached out and closed his fingers around the handle of the lantern. The moment he touched it, the darkness changed. It was subtle at first, a faint warmth spreading from his hand up his arm, and then the light from the lantern grew, not dramatically, not explosively, just steadily, reaching further into the dark than it had before. And where the light touched the cold, dark lanterns around them, they began to glow. One by one, slowly, like embers catching. The lanterns on the nearest ruined tower flickered, steadied, and burned. Then the ones beyond those, then further still. Thomas watched in silence as light spread through the in-between like sunrise. The ruins around them revealed themselves slowly, not broken and abandoned as they had first appeared, but ancient and beautiful. Stone carved with patterns that seemed to move in the light. Archways leading to courtyards filled with soft golden air. Towers rising into a sky that had no stars but needed none. "It is beautiful," he whispered. The girl stood beside him, and for the first time she looked something other than serious. She looked relieved. "How did I do that?" Thomas asked. "I didn't do anything. I just held it." She shook her head. "You didn't just hold it," she said. "You believed it. The lantern responds to belief, to the willingness to see things that cannot be explained, to accept that the world is larger and stranger and more wonderful than it appears." She looked at him carefully. Not everyone can do that. Most people, when they arrive here, look for the rational explanation, the logical reason, the sensible answer. She almost smiled again. "You just looked around and thought, how extraordinary." Thomas realized she was right. He had not once questioned whether this was real. He had simply accepted it, the way children accept things before the world teaches them not to. Am I the new keeper? He asked. The girl nodded. You will come here when you sleep, she said, when the world gets too loud and too fast, and it will. Believe me, it will. You will find your way back here, and as long as you keep finding your way back, the lanterns will keep burning. She paused, and the stories will keep being told. Thomas stood in the warm light of 1,000 relit lanterns and felt something he had never felt before. Not chosen, not special, not burdened. Just right, like a key that had finally found its lock. What is your name? He asked the girl. She picked up a lantern from the nearest wall, cold and dark, and held it up. In her hands it flickered once, twice, and caught. Mara, she said. She held the newly lit lantern out to him. And I've been waiting a very long time to meet you, Thomas Reed. He took the second lantern in his other hand. Together they walked through the in-between, through courtyards and corridors and open spaces that had no name, lighting lantern after lantern as they went, each one catching faster than the last, as though the light itself was remembering how to burn. They walked until the entire world around them was gold and warm and alive with a light that had no source and needed none. And then Mara stopped at the top of a long stone staircase that led upward into a soft and gentle dark. You need to go back now, she said. Thomas looked up the stairs. He could feel the pull of his own world above him. His bed, his pillow, the distant sound of his parents still laughing downstairs. Will I remember this? He asked. Mara considered the question seriously. You will remember the feeling, she said, the way you always remember a dream that mattered without quite knowing why. And when you close your eyes tomorrow night, and the night after, you will find your way back. She looked at him one final time. The in-between needs a keeper who still knows how to wander. Thomas, don't let the world take that from you. Thomas nodded. Then he climbed the stairs. Each step felt lighter than the last, the warmth of the lanterns fading gently behind him, the gold dimming slowly to the ordinary dark of a bedroom at night. He opened his eyes. His ceiling, his curtains moving softly in the draft from the window, the faint smell of birthday cake still in the air. He lay still for a long moment. In his hand, still warm against his palm, was the faint ghost of a feeling, like something golden, like something that mattered. He smiled in the dark. Tomorrow night, he thought. Tomorrow night he would go back. And he did, every night for the rest of his life. That was the unseen hour. A story about wonder, about the light we carry inside us, and about the worlds that exist in the quiet spaces between one moment and the next. If this story found you tonight, in the space between waking and sleeping, then perhaps you already know the way to the in-between. Close your eyes. See what finds you. Subscribe to The Unseen Hour. A brand new story is coming very soon. And remember, the most extraordinary things exist in the spaces most people forget to look. Good night.